take care of your plant life by bringing in Chuck Renes from Renes Greenhouse, because it is a great day to grow it and a great day to grow pumpkins on a tree. What in the world is that, Chuck?
Well, those are what they call pumpkins on a stick. And I brought that in, and Jackie came out the other day, and she was really interested in that. So I thought
it was the coolest thing I ever seen.
Kind of share it with people. But it's actually, we call it a pumpkin on a stick, but it's actually an eggplant.
Eggplant
comes from Vietnam, and they are over there. They're just a food source over there.
Oh,
but they're just kind of interesting. But as the season goes on, all the rest of those little guys will ripen.
Oh.
And some of these leaves will get some yellow in them, and they just make a really nice fall ornament. The only thing with them is, and it's probably kind of hard to see, but they really have.
Oh, look at that.
They got some pokers on.
You got to be careful, because your kids just can't stick their hands in there, because boy, there's some nasty.
I mean, you brought that over here a couple of minutes ago. I didn't even notice those.
Yeah,
you know what? That's a good thing around kids.
Yes,
picking all those things.
They won't pick the.
But
pumpkins.
you're saying this is like a form of a squash.
An eggplant. Edible and everything. I'm sure you can go online and figure out how to fry them up.
Will they get much bigger than that?
No, that's pretty much what they do.
And you're saying it's a delicacy?
Yes, like I say, over in Vietnam, this is one of the food sources over there.
I'll be darned.
How these kind of got started here. You can take, and I was going to cut one off, but I won't because they look so nice. But ideally, you would cut this off, okay, right here, and then you would dry that. And then the florists, they would dry that, and then the florist would use these. That's why they're called pumpkins on a stick. You used to be able to just buy that, and then you could stick that in a dried arrangement or a fresh arrangement of flowers.
Okay.
And get those little pumpkins on there.
So obviously it's not going to make it outside through the winter. Can you bring it in? Will it come back?
No. No, it's just like most annuals. It's a one-time deal.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty now for a month or 6 weeks, and enjoy that, and then that'll be that.
Well, you know what we have to grow next year, then, Chuck. We think we're putting this in our garden next year.
Yeah. Well, and like I say, you can get these. We start them out just as little teeny guys. They're just they're just an eggplant, is all they are. It's just a vegetable. So that's something that you can get and
I think it's so cool.
That is really neat.
Like, I love fall, and I love different things you can find in fall, but I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, well, those are cool, and like I say,
I love the thorns.
I mean, there's just
it's like a heavy metal plant.
Yeah, there's just some nasty thorns on there. And
yeah, Corey Taylor, you should get a bunch of these and put them in front of your house from Slipknot. Yeah.
But they're pretty cool, and the pumpkins and gourds and stuff all come in next week, so it's definitely time to start thinking about fall.
It's going to be that time of year.
Yes, yes. So a couple other things I brought in for fall: cabbage and kale. Kale is they're both the same family. They take the cold. The kale has the ruffled leaves. Okay. Cabbage has the smooth leaves. This stuff doesn't really start getting pretty until it starts getting cold out. But when we start
now, are these for looks or for eating?
I'm sure they're edible, but they're for looks.
They're for looks.
They get really this kale gets that bright pink. I got one from you last year. It's really pretty.
And once it starts getting cold, and cabbage is the same way. They just get those nice big pink centers, and they'll take down to 20. You can freeze these things solid as a rock, and they thaw back out and they're fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, they do well. Now that's not the case with this. This don't like the cold at all.
Now, but prices on all these?
I think we're at $30 on these pumpkins on a stick.
Okay.
These are $5, $4.95. Had to check with the.
Well, I know that's why I asked, because I knew.
Yeah, you're okay.
The commerce director.
Yes. Okay. The banker. So, and you got a lot of these, and the mums and everything are coming on, and
nums are gorgeous.
And your mums are very reasonably priced too.
I would think we got probably the best price on mums there is, and we grow about there's probably 7,000-8,000 of them out there. So we're really starting to ship next week once the fall sales are okay now, but we got to get through Memorial Day or Labor Day before people start thinking about fall. And but we're almost there, and the football games are coming up. And
you mentioned pumpkins earlier, and folks that grow them commercially. I put a few in the yard, and there's blooms. I planted them when they said to plant them, because if you plant them too early, then you got pumpkins now, and you don't want that. So should I be getting impatient at this point, or?
No, you should just pull them up and forget it, because if you ain't got pumpkins now, you ain't gonna have pumpkins. you come see me, I can fix you up.
You better get a pumpkin on a stick. That's all you're going to get this
Throw it away,
year.
go to see Chuck, and then take the pumpkin and lay it where that plant was. Okay.
End of story, Jackie.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what's happening temperature-wise here with all the heat we're having this week. A lot of people are seeing their plants getting stressed big time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty much the end of the season for the annuals. I mean, we're just getting to the end of the season for the annuals, and having the cool weather we had and the rainy weather, and now having all this heat, things are just going to get pretty much done in. I mean, it's just time now to kiss them things goodbye and
Cash them in. You have the petunia basket by us. You know, even though we fertilized it like we're supposed to and watered it, it's still saying, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, it's the end of the road. I was just thinking this morning, we're only 2 or 3 weeks away from 12/12, and that, when you get to that, you're done. You're done, and so it's time to put that stuff away and switch over to the fall stuff. And the heat's just hard on everything this time of year, because it's been cooler and everything, and that's tough.
Now, what about the perennials that you might have in your gardens, or the bulbs?
Perennials are number one on perennials. We don't want to fertilize them anymore, because we're done. We really don't want that top of that plant to grow anymore and be green and lush and stuff. It's time to start letting them go, and we want the energy of those perennials to concentrate on getting that root system good and tough for winter.
Sure.
Plenty of moisture, and I mean, I know it's been rainy and stuff, but the biggest problem people have with perennials and stuff coming back is because they're too dry going into winter. So a lot of water. September, October, early November, before the ground freezes, you just want that plant to be completely hydrated.
Okay.
So that's very important to do that. But definitely no more fertilizer in there. Bulbs and stuff, it's getting close. It's still a little bit early. You really don't want to plant bulbs when it's this hot, because that ground's warm, and they could start growing down there, and you don't want that. You want the ground to be cold, so when you put those bulbs in the ground, they don't think it's time to start growing, and they just sit there and
wait.
How about dividing perennials if you have, say, a hosta or a plant that's kind
of yes. I mean, it's getting to be time, but you just don't want to do it in this heat. Now, I've seen you this morning on the forecast for next week. It's going to start cooling down pretty soon. But I always figure, the middle of the latter part of September is a good time to start dividing stuff, because it's cooling down then, and that's the biggest enemy of things now, is just the heat.
Right.
And when you rip something up by the roots and then try to move it when it's this hot, it's just tough. And so you want it to cool down a little bit for that. But and the other thing on the perennials and stuff too, I'm not a big fan of cutting everything clear back. A lot of people want to cut their roses and everything back. On your rose bushes and stuff, if they're starting to look bad, sometimes you'll get a 2 or 3 foot long cane on a rose bush. You should cut that back so it can't blow around in the wind and things like that. But I don't like cutting all that stuff back in the fall.
I like to leave it through the winter, because there's something to look at.
There's something to look at, and there's a lot of seeds in there and stuff that the birds can get and stuff. And on any perennial flower, there's going to be seeds and stuff in there that the birds can get into and eat, and so that's a nice thing. And the same way with a lot of the perennial grasses and stuff. A lot of them perennial grasses are really prettiest in the winter when that plume's there and you have something to look at besides just it's there and it's nice. So that's always a nice thing to leave too.
I agree.
Absolutely.
All right, now your hours this time of year.
Well, unfortunately, we're open 7 days a week now. But actually, we love every minute of it. 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, and 10 to 4 on Sunday. And we're out there just west of Camp Dodge, so come out and see us. The fall stuff is in, and pumpkins and gourds and everything come in next week. So
now, what about Monday? A lot of people are off Monday. Are you off Monday as well?
I am off Monday.
Okay,
I have to work twice as hard, because I think everybody's coming over to our house to eat. So
So what time we eating?
Well, you're welcome, but if it's up to me, I'm going to go to the greenhouse and be by myself.
So I'll bring a sack lunch over to the greenhouse.
Come on out. We'll have a beer and enjoy each other's company.
We're going out to Adventureland to ride the log ride one last time.
And that was one thing I wanted to mention too. Adventureland is opened all the way through September, but the log ride is the last day for the log ride is going to be Labor Day. So if you want to get
Wow.
one last ride in on that thing.
I say we just go out there and get in line and do that a bunch of times.
Yeah, there you go. It's supposed to be warm enough so we can get wet, so it'll
There
be
you go.
cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, be
Perfect.
All right.
for that.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chuck.
You bet, guys. Thank you.
We'll be back this